Nearly 1 in 5 children live in poverty, according to a report. They talk about the growing gap between rich and poor. It's putting the health of the country's children at risk. Do you notice a growing gap? Jan Tallis is Chief Executive of School Home Support and joins me now. In a sentence, Jan Tallis, what is School Home Support about? Good morning.
Good morning. We support children to be in school ready to learn when circumstances at home are challenging for them.
I see. So you're like a national charity, is that right?
Yes.
OK. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
I read out the bones of a story such as this. You can put the human flesh on it. What are you seeing with people that you and your colleagues, of children that you and your colleagues are working with?
We're seeing children who often only have their free school meal in the day with any nutritious value. Parents and often those people who are working but are on the working poor, if you like, struggling to feed and clothe the children adequately through the rest of the day. And so quite often, particularly in areas of high deprivation where the numbers are something like for one school, there are something like 42 fast, cheap food outlets in the surrounding area. Families are having to choose to feed their children on chicken and chips at £1 a time rather than a proper meal with some balanced carbohydrate, protein and vegetables. Consequences of that are children at a younger age are suffering from type 2 diabetes. The consequence of that is absence from school. And unfortunately, often it's only when we get to that point that we are alerted and able to get involved and be able to support the family around it.
Typically, the sort of families that you talk, what's their median income going to be? What sort of money are they making?
Well, they're just above often the what is the benefits line. So £17,000 a year for a whole family, and if you think that's a lot of our work is in London, and so we all know what rents and property prices are like in London. It does not leave a very lot of disposable income for the rest of life. We have a welfare fund that is a charitable welfare fund, and we use it to help families that are struggling to buy school uniforms, for children to be able to go on school trips. But more and more, we are having to do emergency food and to support families to be able to feed their children over the weekends. But worse, it's horrible when you meet families who are dreading school holidays because they're losing their one school meal a day as well. And then you've got a week, half-term set out in front of you, and it's really worrying. So we're having to support families to access food banks more and more. And in
how many instances are the way that these families spending their money open to question? The wisdom of their financial choices is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think that you get the huge rumours around, well, they've got great TVs and everybody's got a mobile phone. Well, apart from anything else, I don't know if you've tried to access any government services lately, but you can't access them unless you've got access to the internet. You can't speak to a human being anymore. And so there is something in there where just to live today and to be able to speak to your services, you need access to the internet. But that's...
Doesn't mean you need the latest smartphone, though, does it?
No, it doesn't, and not everybody's got a latest.
No, I realise that. But I mean, just looking, you talk about families £17,000 per annum. Well, you won't, quite rightly, you wouldn't pay a lot of tax on that, so you're going to be left with north of £1,000 a month. I mean, there will be people listening to my show, particularly perhaps pensioners and those who are on fixed incomes. £1,000 a month sounds pretty good to them.
But if you've got 3 children and 2 adults in the family, and you're paying probably, do you know rents in London?
Well, you probably can't afford to live in, so you have to go and live someplace else.
Well, and that then starts to destroy all of your community support, your local family support. It puts more and more
presumably we have
pressure.
family support elsewhere in the country. It's not just in London, is it? I mean, we have got it down in
Sorry, I
Sussex.
mean the support of your families. You know, one of the things that is breaking down in London is support for people who, if you move away from your family, then that bit of babysitting that you used to be able to get from your mum or your aunt, that destroys as well. It starts to make it more difficult for the parents to work, and it then means that more and more benefits are needed to support families elsewhere.
So what would you do?
Cycle.
You work in the front line of this. What do you think needs to be done?
Well, I think that definitely we need to be doing more education about how we can support families to feed adequately their children on the amounts that they have. But there needs to be the minimum wage needs to be addressed so that people aren't finding that they can't live on what's, when they're working 40 hours a week. It's not sensible. We have to look at, what do we do differently to these 15 other countries in Europe who are better than us at that?
Jan Tallis, your Chief Executive of School Home Support. Thank you for your input. Niall Cooper was